You're listening to the Crystal Bar podcast, where crystals, astrology, and aligned living meet the cycles of the moon and year. I'm Claire, and each week I bring guidance and stories to inspire you to live with clarity, connection, and purpose. So take a deep breath, make this time for you, and let's begin. A very happy Wednesday morning to you all. Now, this week we have something very special coming up. We have got the new moon in Libra on Tuesday, the 21st of October, peaking around 1:30, I think it is, here in the UK. That's in the afternoon. But this one's all about relationships, balance, and giving our connections a bit of a reboot. So if things have felt slightly out of sync with others or even with yourself, this new moon is here to help you hit some refreshes and look into what's going on and just feel the energy around you and actually make some sense of what is what. Now, I know I've kind of jumped straight into this episode. This week I have asked you for some questions because I find that, I will explain a bit later on, but I do find that I tend to talk about others and want to help others rather than about myself. And a few of you have said that you're not really hearing what I've been up to, or you'd like to get to know a bit more about me because you're new to the podcast. So I thought, you know what? Let's leave that for the end of the podcast. And for now, let's get into business and let's talk about the energy of this forthcoming Libra new moon. So if you didn't know, Libra is actually ruled by Venus, which is the planet of love, harmony and beauty. So this lunation is really about relationship dynamics, both romantic and of course platonic. But this one is not just pretty flowers and date nights. I'm so sorry. There's some really, really strong depth right here. Now, the new moon is clashing slightly with Pluto, which is the planet of detox and transformation. And it's what I like to call the plumber of the zodiac. Pluto is going to unblock our inner pipes, clearing out all the emotional residue we've been ignoring. And if there's been a build-up, some resentment, some fear, an old heartbreak, you may be experiencing a bubbling up right now. And you might be feeling like it's all coming to a bit of a head and you need it to be finally released. It's not always comfortable energy around this moon. Sometimes this energy comes in the form of an upset, a confrontation, or even an emotional breakdown. But like any good old plumber, Pluto is here to get things moving again. So if you've felt stuck in love or just heavy in your own energy, this is your cosmic reset button. Take a moment to ask yourself, which relationship in my life or which part of myself needs a detox or a restart right now? It might be time to stop letting past experiences muddy your present or your future. And you know what? That's okay. Neptune is also hanging around and it has a bit of a role with the spiritual connection, okay? Right now, the planets are kind of doing this weird dance. And right after the new moon, Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces. And that adds a dreamy, surreal quality to next week and the end of this week. You might feel a little foggy, unsure, or even nostalgic, but the upside, this is a beautiful time for spiritual connection. If you are into meditation, journaling, tarot, or even working with crystals, hurrah, you'll find that intuitive messages flow more freely. But just remember, okay, my lovelies, not everything you sense will make logical sense. And that's okay. Neptune wants you to feel, not analyze. So, of course, let's talk about the right crystals for the new moon in Libra. If you're setting intentions or doing rituals, here are some really beautiful crystals to work with under this new moon energy. So firstly, I'm going to give you rose quartz. Of course, love is all around. So for gentle heart healing and to invite more self-love into relationships, wear it, carry it, meditate with it. The second offering from me is lepidolite. It's to calm emotional turbulence and ease tension during relationship changes. Black tourmaline. I wasn't going to include this one, and then I thought, you know what? There might be some toxic attachments going on right now. So let's clear out all that toxicity, all those attachments, those bad energy ribbons that you've got attached. I call them ribbons, but they're basically ropes. Okay, they're spiritual ropes attached to someone or something that you just can't cut, or you just can't let go. Cord cutting. Okay, cord cutting is what I'm talking about. I've digressed. By the way, if you want to cord cut, a great exercise is to literally visualize it. Imagine the cord and the rope or the ribbon between you and the other person, or the thing or the memory, and then just imagine it burning away or physically cutting it. Okay. Now, there is a longer, more dynamic ritual that I have shared on more than one occasion, but that in its slightest kind of easiest form is very powerful as well. But shall we get back to black tourmaline? Black tourmaline. Okay. So as I say, I'm giving this to you to clear out toxic attachments and protect your energy whilst you detox. We've then got moonstone for emotional balance, new beginnings, aligning beautifully with Libra's air of renewal. And then finally, if you've seen it on today's grid, this will be no surprise, but selenite, to cleanse your energy, raise your vibration to one of clarity and peace. Place these crystals around your bath, not the selenite, under your pillow, or place on top of a selenite charging plate overnight as you set your intentions. Now, the reason I've chosen to put these under the pillow is whilst you sleep, they're going to work with your subconscious. As you go through all of the beta, the theta waves of sleep and dream, they will work. Now, they're very, very calming crystals. But of course, if you end up with a restless night's sleep or overthinking, just take them out, okay? Don't have to do it. Just put it by your bedstand all together as a group. They will work beautifully for you from there. I thought I would consult with the astrological elements of how we are all doing right now. And with this being said, I have come up with a very short, one-line mini cosmic nudge for the week ahead for each of your signs. Now, these are predominantly for your sun, your star sign, but you can attribute them to your rising sign, your moon sign, and your medium Coeli sign as well, okay? So, Aries. Balance begins when you listen as much as you lead. Taurus, open your heart to change. Stability can still evolve. Gemini, speak your truth. Your words are your medicine now. Cancer, let go of any emotional clutter to make space for real connection. Leo, partnerships thrive when you allow vulnerability. Virgo, you can't fix everyone, but you can choose peace. Libra, a total energy reset. This is your new chapter. Scorpio, trust that endings are preparing you for powerful new alignments. Sagittarius, let love surprise you. It might not look like you expect. Capricorn, healing doesn't have to be hard work. Allow it to unfold. Aquarius, be open to intimacy that goes beyond words. And Pisces, the fog is clearing and you'll see who's meant to walk beside you. Now, after the new moon in Libra, we have got Scorpio season. October the 23rd is when it starts. So I'll probably talk a little bit more about that next week. But let's get a little sneak peek because this energy is foreshadowing what is to come. So you'll be feeling it right now like you are the building new moon energy. Scorpio season. Okay. The energy is going to shift again. This is where we start to dive deeper into truth, transformation, and emotional intensity. Scorpio season is about what lies beneath. It's soulful, mysterious, and sometimes a little consuming. You might be a little bit overwhelmed by all of this emotional baggage that's coming to the surface that you have to work with. But personally, I find this transition really interesting. I come from a family and friendship full of talkers, lovely people who love to talk about themselves, don't we all at times? But I've realised over the years that for me, listening feels lighter. I like learning about others, what drives them, what makes them tick, and that curiosity has actually deepened my relationships in the most beautiful ways. So, instead of me doing all the talking today, I thought I'd let you take the lead for once. I've popped up a story on Instagram asking, as I said earlier, for your questions. Anything you'd like to know about me, my personal life, crystals, the business, the podcast, whatever you're curious about. And I will be answering them in next week's episode as well as this week's episode. But to get you started, here are some really fun questions I have received. They're kind of more getting to know me questions. Do you know what? I think I might put another Q&A box up today as well. Yeah. If you're listening on Wednesday, the 15th of October, check out my Instagram stories. There's a Q&A box I'm going to pop up after this recording, and you can ask me some more questions there, just in case you have any more after what I'm about to answer right now. Can I get my words out? The thought of talking about myself is making me feel all funny. Oh my gosh, hang on, let me have a little rest. Okay. Why do I feel so funny and awkward? I don't know. Right. Okay. So the first question that came in was, what's my all-time favorite crystal to work with? I wonder, people, for those of you who know me well, I would say, do you know what? Citrine, for the fact that it brings sunshine, it brings joy. It literally changed my life and my mindset and helped elevate my motivation towards setting up my own business. But I say that I always opt for citrine. It is my star sign crystal. Perhaps that's why. But daily, I wear clear quartz, fluorite, moonstone. Now, clear quartz for energy and all the good stuff, but also it amplifies is fluorite, which is great for blocking negativity, shielding my aura, for helping me focus as well and get into the nitty-gritty of work and really put my best foot forward. And then I've got moonstone. Now, it's for fresh beginnings, new starts, but as well, it's great for business. It's one of the best crystals for business. I've chosen peach to give me a little bit of confidence, a little bit of vigor. So there we go. They're the three crystals I wear daily, but I also use citrine a lot. My whole money corner is full of citrine. I've actually also got smoky quartz there and aura amethyst. Very sparkly, lovely crystals. Okay. So the next question was what's the best holiday destination I've ever been to and where I'd love to go to next? Oh, okay. Well, I've been abroad a few times. Possibly one of the most memorable was Italy when I was 6, only purely because it was the first time we'd ever been abroad. And I can remember the heat and the Colosseum and Rome. But I can also remember we stayed for, I think it was 4 weeks in a little town up in the hills. And it was so traditional. I can remember walking down, oh God, I'm sorry, but yeah, I won't say, but an older lady sat with rabbits, that's all I'm going to say, on her step, preparing the meat and things. But I can remember the square and it being so vibrant and going to the counter and experiencing Orangina for the first time. Do you remember the glass bottles? And I had all the orange at the bottle and shaking it. Also as well, these cakes. They were like a sponge, but they almost seemed to have like a milk on them. Very juicy and sweet. And the pizzas, like that's where my obsession with pizza started. Although, okay, in the UK, except for the authentic Italian pizzerias, which we have one in our local town actually, which is lucky. But the taste I can still taste that taste today. Oh, and penne pasta. That's where my obsession started. So perhaps that is one of my best holiday destinations. I was only 6, but I remember it so vividly. It was incredible. And where I'd love to go to next. Well, I always look at, I'm always following travel vlogs and vloggers on YouTube. I watch a lot of their series, and I would love to experience luxury travel all the way down to backpacking travel, like not slumming it, but kind of roaring it into the forests and the jungles. I would love to visit a Buddhist temple. We do have some here in the UK. Being kind of aligned with Buddha, I'd love to visit a Buddhist temple. I did watch one of our favorite vloggers. He went off to Thailand with a group of people, and it looked fascinating. But I'm also aware of, the commercialism that's happening now in these countries, as everywhere. They've got to make money. I appreciate that. I'd love to go and see the monkeys that are up a hill in a mountain I can't think, they're the snow monkeys, and they're sat in the hot pools and springs of water, sort of picking each other's fleas and whatever else off their fur, but they're surrounded by snow and they're so gentle. Where else would I like to go? Oh my gosh, there's so many places. I mean, Iceland as well for one, but probably the highlands of Iceland over everything, to see the volcanic fields and then the hot spring rivers and the baths, trekking up the sides of the mountains. And on one side, you've got like a glacier. The other side, you've got these hot springs bubbling. That's what I'd love to experience. So nature, really, obviously, as well. I'd love to go to the US, but perhaps like Washington State, where Twilight was filmed, all those big trees, the mountains. I'd like to do almost like a driving tour of the US to really experience off the beaten track and stuff. Gosh, there's honestly so many places. You've started me off now. I'd love to see the crystal clear waters as well around the world in the oceans, and just see the fish all happy and clean. And oh yeah, sorry, I'm digressing. Should we get on to that next question? Okay, so I've been asked what my morning ritual is, or daily non-negotiable. Well, I have 2 daily non-negotiables, which is meditate in the morning, meditate in the evening. They're 2 very different meditations. I actually have set my Alexa. I set my alarm for about 25 to 6. I like to have a moment of meditation in bed, and I sit up, and Alexa, after I've had sort of 10 minutes of coming to and sort of being grateful for the start of the day, Alexa will say to me, "Good morning, this is your meditation ritual." And it's funny because Arnie and Ivy sleep in the bedroom. Stuart's up by this point, he's getting ready for work. They then jump up on the bed when they hear this, and they lay next to me and start snoring when the music starts. We have about 20 minutes of that. It's so lovely. I don't always hold a crystal, but it's at this point I ask for guidance for the Crystal Bar Collective, and I get my message of the day, and I speak it aloud, and then I type it up, and that's the message of the day that you get in the morning. And then through the day, my non-negotiables are eating well. I always like to have a certain amount of fruit of a morning and a certain breakfast, which probably sounds a bit ritualistic, but I enjoy that. What else is a non-negotiable? Oh, no phones in the evening. You'll see that I very rarely post in the evenings. I very rarely share a story in the evenings. The phone goes down, I would say, about 6 at the latest. And unless, of course, I'm messaging my family, it doesn't really get picked up, which annoys me because my husband's been working all day, so he likes to have a little flick around on social media. But it is what it is, and that's where I tend to look at the YouTube as well. We're sat together watching them travel, and I live vicariously through them. But of an evening, I like to wind down, put my lamp on the side of the bed. I might read a little bit of a book. It tends to be more affirmations though. And I'm not kind of doing the hard sell, but my affirmation book, I do read that as well. I know I rate it, but I still benefit from it greatly. And then I've got the Headspace app, and I listen to some winding down relaxation, sort of leave everything behind meditation, and fall asleep to that. So There we go. But my daily non-negotiable as well is don't take no BS. Just try and have an what it is attitude. Take every moment as it comes. Don't live in the past or heavily in the future. Obviously, being a business, I do have to plan, but that's fun stuff. Don't try to worry or create anxiety out of what isn't there. So there we go. Next question. Somebody's asked me actually the moment I realised crystals were more than just stones. Oh my gosh. Well, as you know, my story when I feel like I'm our current Prime Minister with his story of his dad, who's a tool maker. Everybody associates him with that. But obviously I got my first rose quartz when I was a young girl from a lovely lady who come to the door. And, you know, I had a fantastic childhood. I had good bunches of friends. I wasn't bullied. Everybody says to me, "Oh, you got red hair. Were you bullied?" No, genuinely, I was not bullied. The one or two people that even dared comment about my hair, it was more in upper school, and they were actually people from I don't really want to say it, but anyway, yeah, I just said something back to them and it shut them right up. Shall we just say that? I'm the queen of comebacks. That's all I'm going to say there. That's the only time. In fact, if anything, I was the person who sorted out bullies for other people, if that makes sense. Other people would come to me and say, this person's bothering me. Can you have a word? I'd have a word. It would stop. I'm not saying I'm brilliant. I'm not saying I'm a bully. I'm not saying I'm anything else. All I'm saying is that I didn't suffer fools gladly, if that makes sense. And I embraced my hair. I loved my energy. And perhaps it was that. Perhaps it was my high vibe energy that kind of just radiated. Maybe. I don't know. I was blessed in that respect. But I think looking back, rose quartz was my friend. I also wore citrine all the time, being my birthstone. I always had a citrine necklace on growing up. I always wore some kind of crystal without really understanding what it was. So they were definitely helping. But the moment I re-clicked and understood what it was to be a crystal connoisseur and have the support of the universe in crystals was when I was watching a live before I even started selling crystals for another company actually first. But I saw a live and this lady was selling this little baked citrine crystal and I was blown away by it. It was just a pendant. So I received it. I brought two as a spare. I put one on the windowsill in our lounge, which was in the south-facing window in the sunshine, being blessed by the moon and the sun all the time, continuously being vibrated. And yeah, it changed my whole aspect. I'd always knew that I was destined for things outside of working 9 till 5 and for someone else. And it ignited something in me, and then it just helped me get my confidence. And here we are where we are today. We got our new house. I manifested that with that crystal on the windowsill. It still sits on the windowsill actually, but in our kitchen now, in our money corner. That is the corner of the home, and the office is above that. It is actually still there, still vibrating in the sun and the moon, working its magic, and I'm so grateful for it. So yeah, I think when I got that citrine, just something changed within me, really. I had a eureka moment, and I then decided to start selling crystals for like commission from another company. And from that point onwards, I then turned around and said to my husband a few years later, why aren't I doing this myself? And we are here where we are. So yeah, I would say I've always known they're special. I've always felt attracted to them, but I really understood them more, I would say, with the moment I hit 40. Oh, this was a really interesting question. The hardest lesson I've learned as a business owner. Oh, okay. Sadly, that not everybody is your friend. A lot of people will come out of the woodwork to get something from you and disappear off. They will use you and your kindness to elevate themselves and then dump on you from a great height. That some people will follow you. Oh, recently I've had to block 2 businesses, unfortunately. Because, do you know what? I'm all up for networking. I'm all up for supporting others. But don't come onto my profile go down my followers list or see who's reacting or liking my post or saying they're buying my post and follow them or request to follow them, to befriend them. It's not good. It's not ethical. It's not nice. And do you know what? I know it happens. Fair play to you, but you're gone. Sorry. The hardest lesson I've learned, though, also as well, do you know what? I've got great family. I've got great friends who are very supportive, but also as well, people who don't get it, that they don't understand that you're not 9 till 5. You have to work it 24 hours a day. Literally, you're living your business is you. It is a part of you. It's an extension of you. You created this. And unfortunately, it's perhaps those friends that don't understand this. And, it's not through neglect on my part. I still made the effort, but I just feel like, well, perhaps the business is aligned me with people that are more aligned on my path, possibly. I don't know. That's probably one of the hardest lessons I've learned, that not everybody is happy when you're making a success of yourself. There we go. I've said it. I've said it out loud. Another hard lesson. I think it's the being taken advantage of, really. That's quite difficult, and understanding when people are coming from a place of authenticity or from a place of, like I say, wanting something out of you. So yeah, that's probably one of the hardest lessons I've learned. Don't know if that's what you meant, but for me, running a business is just everything. It's been a wonderful experience. I'm very blessed, I'm very lucky, and I'm very grateful. But in terms of working out people and society as a whole, in terms of the different personalities that you come across, yeah, that's been an interesting one. Ooh, I like this question. Which moon phase do I secretly love the most? Ooh. Do you know what? I love them all. And I'm sorry for saying that, but I do love them all for their own reason. But of course, I love the new moon. I'm a glittery girl. I'm Glinda, the good witch. And do you know what? I must laugh because on my last video for October, the cosmic forecast, the glow. Apparently, I'm doing the Glinda glow. I'm saying the G and the L separately, so I apologise. That's just the thing I've obviously got. I didn't realise I was doing it. Yeah, but the glow of the new moon, I love it. I just love the possibilities that come with the new moon. I do love the full moon as well. The stars just glisten as that full moon shines, the light of the full moon. I love being able to just move on from something if it's no longer serving me and just put an end to something and go, do you know what, that's not working, let's start something new. But the new moon is special. I have manifested so many incredible things. I have prayed, I have danced, I have ritualized under a new moon and received so much, and I'm so grateful for the universe and the moon. So yeah, I think the new moon's probably my favorite. I do love the waxing stage as well as the moon starts growing and you see it from the right starting to light up again as it lights up the sky. Honestly, so magnificent. So yeah, I'm going to go with the new moon. I'd love to hear yours, by the way. Comment, what is your favourite full moon phase? The first crystal I ever bought was pyrite. I was gifted the rose quartz, but when I went to any castle, school trip, France, wherever, I brought pyrite and gifted it to my dad. And my dad still has some to this day, which is really lovely. My favourite go-to comfort meal or favourite drink? Ooh, I'm a fish. I love water. I'm really boring, but I do love as well a fruit juice. I wish my husband was here because he'd probably go, oh no, what about this? But my favourite drink, I'm not a sparkling person. I'm not really a carbonated beverage type of girl. I love a hot chocolate, as long as it's not too sickly sweet. But I do love a water. That's about it, really. How boring am I? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I don't even drink alcohol, so I can't really give you that. But my favourite comfort meal, as I sit here, I had a little pizza last night. It was like a child-sized pizza, which was lovely. But I think my best favourite comfort food is pasta. Tomato pasta. I chop up I have the tomato sauce. I normally go for a Lloyd Grossman tomato sauce. It's for 2 portions. I whack it all in because I make enough for the second day as well. And then within that, I chop up loads of little mini tomatoes or salad tomatoes, spring onions, sometimes some red onions, broccoli. I cook that off first and add that. Occasionally I'll add some sweet corn, but I find it gets a little bit, I don't know, with sweet corn. What else do I like to add to my pastas? And that's it really. What else can I add to it? No, that's about it. And then I stir all the sauce up, heat it up, make my pasta, then stir it in and then cook it over again to get rid of any like tomato juice that's hanging about so it's not too watery. And then I let it sit for a little while off the hob so it's nice and warm and then gelatizing a little bit. And then I grate about 30 pounds of cheese, sprinkle it on and then let it melt in. If it doesn't melt, I just put it under the grill ever so slightly. Sometimes I put breadcrumbs on, but that's it. Oh my God. And then Arnie and Ivory hover around me like flies when I've got pasta. Now, obviously they can't have tomatoes. It's poisonous for dogs, I think. But I do wash it off a little bit, some of it, warm it up, put it in a little bowl for them and hand feed them bits of pasta. That's probably why Ivy's got a bit of a round belly this morning, haven't you? Ivy's next to me. Oh, tickling her. She did like the slowest turn of her head as if to say, how dare you touch me? So yeah, I think pasta, I love a bag of crisps, but I have to say I've had to ration those in the house. Otherwise I would just sit watching like a serial killer thing, like the Ed Gein thing on Netflix and just waffle and eat loads of that. So there we go. But I do love a chip and a mayo sauce, but it's got to be vegan mayo. So yeah. There we go. Finding out some weird and wonderful stuff about me today, aren't you? If I could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Do you know what? I love where we live. I love our house. I love where it is. But if we could move tomorrow, where would I go? I don't know. I'm so happy with where I am. I've never really thought about it. Love to travel and perhaps do some long vacations around the world. But I think my home will always be in my home right now. For now, this is it. This is the crystal bar. I'm happy. But I'd love to travel, as you know, to a few places around the world. What have I learned from running the Crystal Bar and the Crystal Bar Academy? I think this kind of flows on from what's the hardest lesson, but what I've learned is that I'm more capable than I could ever imagine. That if I put my mind to something, I can achieve it. Also, as well, I have learned that even though I feel a certain way I do in the world, everybody's reality is different. The people I talk to daily, the people I meet, everybody could have the same experience. They could see the same thing, but feel a different way, react a different way, change their life in a different way. And that's what I've learned when it comes to healing and working with you all, that nothing's linear, nothing's black and white. And that even though I could say an amethyst could help one person in one way, it could help someone else in a completely different way. On the same spectrum, but it could help someone perhaps with car more and someone else more with sleep, but it could make someone else more awake because it makes them think about what it is they're stressed about. So yeah, but also as well that it's hard work running a business, but it's so rewarding. It really is. I've just started sharing a few of my orders every day onto my stories, what people are ordering. And I'm finding that that's such a lovely way to sort of give thanks, because for years I've been asked, will I share my orders? And I'm really sorry, but I'm rubbish at doing reels like that. I don't know how people manage it and make it so aesthetic. I mean, I've got a beautiful office. I tried and I was all fingers and thumbs. So now I just literally do little stories about what people have ordered and everybody seems to enjoy that. I'm digressing. What have I learned? What have I learned? What have I learned? That if anybody puts their mind to something, they can achieve it. And I've found that with the Crystal Bar Academy courses, actually, we've welcomed on people who were right at the start of their crystal journey. And they have embraced every single step. They've followed all the tasks. They've took on board what all the teachings have been there to offer them. They've embraced it and pulled it into their lives. And some people are making huge life changes. Money. It's because I was thinking about what I wanted to say, the story. They've made life changes to their life. Money. Now, manifestation isn't all about money. It could be about lifestyle. It could be about goal setting, but one person has implemented the whole of the manifestation course. And I'm going to tell you guys and you guys only, but they've actually won £4,200 on the bingo. They visualized it. They've seen it. They've gone to bingo for the first time. They won it. So yeah, it's not my story to tell. They did say I could share it, but I didn't want people to just flood to the Crystal Bar Academy out of just trying to, manifest financial gain, because I want it to be more than that. I want people to discover the academy with the crystal courses for those who want to then develop and set up their own crystal classes, their own healing practices, their own businesses. I want the right people to find those courses. So I just thought I'd digress a little bit. We were celebrating. We were so excited. This lady voice noted me and I was jumping up and down with her. There's been so many other stories, which I have shared a few of in the stories of my Instagram and Facebook, but yeah, it's bliss. So what have I learned? That anything is possible in this world if you put your mind to it. And the final one I'm going to answer, because I've realised I've been chatting for ages, is what is one piece of advice I'd give to anyone starting a spiritual business? One bit of advice: block out the doubters, block out the noise, block out your own doubts and focus. Start small. Start in a way that fuels your passion, that is going to emanate to the rest of the people that are looking at your posts. Don't just try and copy what others are doing. It needs to come from your heart, your soul, and align. Now, there are definitely different ways of having a spiritual business. You could be solely healing. You could be selling crystals and healing. You could be doing Reiki and becoming a Reiki master. There's so many different things. You could be a card reader. You could have a shop and just do nothing about healing, but just have a shop because you love the crystals. Whatever it is, align with that. Don't try to put too many eggs in one basket all at once. Grow slowly, grow organically, and the right people will find you, okay? And I wish you every success. Let me know if you are, and I'll shout you out. Let me know. But anyway, my loves, that's it for today in terms of questions. After I've finished recording this, head over to my Instagram stories at __crystal_bar and drop your questions in the box. And I can't wait to read them. And next week, if I remember, I will share my honest answers in a special, personal little episode, part of the episode, okay? Right, let me refocus. Oh gosh, as always, thank you for listening, my loves, for showing up, for doing the inner work, especially under the powerful lunations. Remember, this moon in Libra reminds us that every relationship begins and ends with ourselves. And when you bring peace within, it radiates outwards to everyone around you. So set your intentions, cleanse your energy, and remember, sometimes things have to be cleared out before new love and light can flow in. Until next time, sending you all so much love, balance, beautiful new beginnings, and remember, the right crystal will always find you. Before you go, I have a very special discount code for you, especially for those of you who love buying crystals. So, the code is podcastcrystal. If you use this at checkout at thecrystalbar.co.uk, you will get a very secret discount. And yes, it is a secret because I changed the value of the code throughout the year. So who knows what discount you will receive. But I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope you found it beneficial. And if you have, I'd be really grateful if you could just leave a comment, leave a review, and of course, if you have a friend who loves crystals just like us, please do share it with them. Sending you love, sending you light. Have a great week because honestly, my lovelies, you really do deserve it. And as I said earlier, remember, the right crystal will always find you.